So you know what that was called?
Tell me.
Well, you know how Van Halen has Eruption?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's called Implosion.
Boom.
Whoa. 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 Is this
Right?
is this from you?
Yes.
Yeah, but not.
Just for IoT Coffee Talk. By the way, welcome everyone. Remember, don't take us seriously. We're absolutely having fun. Take us seriously at your own risk. But yes,
Wow. Implosion.
inspired by Eddie Van Halen's Eruption.
I love it. I love it.
Well, we might have to explain to our listener what is an implosion, because in the world of flat screen, nobody knows what is an implosion anymore. When the TVs were those big box with tubes, I remember I was taught when I was a little, you have to be careful because if you break it, it will implode. But
Really?
Or if you're on an experimental submarine to go visit the Titanic, it might implode.
Well, you're right. Actually, they were reminded because of that. I didn't think about that. Good thinking, Rob. So thank you so much to Blue Ocean to bringing the subject of implosion back. That was actually forgotten because of in the world of flat screens.
Yeah, right. Well, they all became flat screens. Yeah, it's unfortunate, as they have a controller. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So the big news is pagers exploding simultaneously. This is like right out of a movie or a novel or a James Bond or, holy cow.
Well, I was thinking about that, and as awful as it is, if people don't understand the importance of the supply chain, now they will.
Yeah.
I agree. This is a wake-up call for the supply chain. I mean, I'm reading about this yesterday afternoon, and then I started doing a post like on Facebook about it, and then I go, wait a second. How do I know that my phone hasn't been intercepted on its way from Southeast Asia to Seattle, for instance, to an Apple store, and has explosives in it, and someone could send a message and my phone blows up? I know that sounds silly.
Yeah, it does.
But it's not as silly as you think, because we just saw that this is possible. It's a supply chain attack.
Exactly. And the interesting fact as well, I remember it was a year or two ago when the European Union started to talk about, this new regulation that will actually prevent companies like Apple to serializing components in their iPhone. Yep. And everybody say, oh, it's great, right to repair, right to change whatever you want. I was saying, guys, here's the problem. If somebody repairs and put a part that you don't know, I want serialized part in my phone because I want to trust the origin for the supply chain. And everybody was saying I was an idiot. So we'll see.
Not an idiot anymore.
Well, when the risk gets to that level, right?
Gosh, I mean,
that's when people act.
This is such a big deal. This is unprecedented. I don't think, and a whole lot of bad people who've never even thought of this as an attack vector went, wow, I could do that.
Yeah.
But in fairness, the decision to use those pager, I mean, okay, and I'm not taking any sides here, but obviously, it's pretty old technology. The traffic is unencrypted and everything, so this is an ideal target for that. So I do understand why they try to do that, because they don't want to use regular channels that can be hacked. But then, if you don't base your critical infrastructure on something that is fundamentally secure, because those things are not secure at all, you have a problem. So
it's not even that. I mean, if you know where somebody is, you also know where to direct your F-16s, right? And I think that really was the thing, what inspired the transition. And, that's one of the things about mobile wireless is you can easily find out where people are. And,
it's these guys here. I read that they are actually encrypted pagers.
Well, I haven't seen. I've looked at the protocol briefly. It didn't seem to be necessarily encrypted, but maybe you're right. I don't know. But anyway, if you have access to the supply chain, putting a backdoor is a no-brainer.
Yeah,
on those kind of things either. So But it's pretty basic protocol from what I've seen, but I haven't researched in detail. So I was trying to find one on eBay, but apparently not available. And the website of the company is not responding. So
I just think this is a big wake-up call for everybody involved in logistics and supply chain, and all of a sudden any casual laissez-faire feeling about the movement of goods and services around the globe, all of a sudden, they woke up in shock this morning like, oh gosh, I need to be on this. I need more IoT. I need more knowledge of every step along the way of what's going on here. Or it goes back to digital sovereignty or all this stuff about where do things get built and that kind of thing.
Where's Bill when we need him? Well, he did the what do you call it? SBOM, right? But we've talked about SysBOM, tracing things all the way down to the silicon and so pioneering concept from IoT.
So that's also a good point. It's not just the finished whole good going from source to your hands. It's someone else is making the screens for Apple. There's so many components that come from other vendors in there, and those could be tampered with along the way when they make their way to Foxconn, for instance, before you get to final assembly. Let alone the whole thing in transit across the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. Hey, David, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while.
Nice watch.
It sounds like you guys are talking about pagers and supply chain interceptions.
We are.
Yeah.
What else would you be talking about today?
No, but I think it's funny how things happen, and then there's precedent for things that we've talked about here. Because I think on one of the early episodes, but it was in the context of laptops. How do you get in the a man in the middle attack, but on a physical device.
Yeah.
And if you don't have serious eyeballs on the entirety of the supply chain, things like these, not as explosive, pun intended, but they have happened before.
Yeah.
No bueno. Yeah. So more eyeballs, I think of what's our friend Scott Luton. He's doing his supply chain now stuff and everything. I don't know. I think I think of the FedEx truck coming by, or the Amazon truck driving up, or UPS, all these people involved in logistics, and that's like the last mile-ish stuff, I got to believe there's meetings all over the world right now in corporate headquarters involved with shipping goods and manufacturing goods and stuff like that, where they're like, wow, I never thought of this.
And it's now, this is a corner use case. There's not going to be there. I think you're right, Rob. There are people that were not worried about this 3 days ago that are worried about it now. So it'll be interesting to see how they try to apply the visibility aspect for the goods in question that something like this could happen. Because what's already there. The technology for the visibility, it's there. It's been made. So is this going to drive an implementation of it? And then at which level? Because we can all start tracking things from the sand that went into the silicon all the way up. But, at some point, you're like, it's us doing these things where no one else is looking. It's like I'm in the warehouse. It's 3 a.m. Lights are off. Let me be the inside bad actor that's going to, finagle with these things.
Yeah, you're right. There could be bad actors at every stage of that supply chain, including the one that's closest to your house. It could be that final distribution center for, FedEx, UPS, Amazon. You put in your name, and someone who's putting the packages into the truck could slip something in, or, you're right. It could happen anywhere.
This is why cousin Andy wants everyone to return to the office.
Exactly. Good segue.
Yeah.
That is a good segue.
I just saw that. What was that? What's that about?
That make total sense. So we can see people exploiting that just to bring them back in the office. So
I think personally, I just wish they called it for what it is. This is to force attrition, because when I looked at it, I'm like, like I'm pretty sure that in the last 20 months, like I think Amazon stock, it's up 20 points or something, which is not bad. So if the stock is up 20 points, have your workers been productive? And if they have been productive, were they being productive from home? So what is it? Like you want 40 points? So come back to the office because you'll be more. I don't know, man. It's
No, there's
it's
there's
tough.
certainly some irony there of all, I get it. Ever since, we've had this for over a year, 2 years now with CEOs saying, get back to the office. And people are like, no, I'm not coming back. Tim Cook, come back and work at our giant flying saucer. And people are like, I'm not going to go back. And, and I get the serendipity, the hallway meetings, the magic happens there. I totally get it. I believe that too. The irony with Amazon, though, I saw a friend of mine, Scott Hanselman from Microsoft, made a comment about that. Well, then, is he also asking for people to go back to the shopping malls and stores to buy the stuff in person as well as part of getting people back to Amazon in person? And it took me a second because I'm not very bright to go, oh, I get it.
That actually makes total sense. Let's launch a big campaign. Stop going to Amazon, go to Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, it's ironic. Amazon is succeeding by you being at home on your computer buying stuff instead of going to the store.
Well, stuff gets dropped off, and and also over the years, Amazon's realized brick and mortar has its advantages, and so they've been trying to come to market with novel models of brick and mortar retail. That's not a mystery. So doing all this one.
I think Leonard needs a new connection.
Yeah, this is what happens when you speak ill of Andy Jassy on the public interwebs.
I think, yeah, exactly.
He got intercepted.
Amazon monitoring system.
Yeah.
This is the third time that Leonard froze, and yet he sees us frozen. His mouth is moving right now, but we can't even hear him.
No.
He thinks we're frozen every time he freezes, but we're all still talking.
And if that microphone was purchased on Amazon, there could be something in there.
Yeah, it could be. Now he's getting a little pixelated, and he's like, how could this be happening to me? I'm paying like $1 million a month for this high-speed fiber optic connection I've got.
Let's be an edge computing problem thing. So
there you go. Look at that face. Look at that right there. That's the look of despair when your internet connection doesn't work.
You need to put more AI on these.
Oh my God.
You need AI on edge.
Okay, you guys asked for it.
You know what, Leonard? I think you should get a U.S. Robotics dial-up modem.
We are back.
We're back. I couldn't come back right away because I had the dialogue box of saving the recording of our first block before it died. So I thought I'd wait because I didn't know what was going to come after, or if anything. Yikes.
Well, Leonard's still having issues over there, and it looks like Bill's going to join.
Yeah, maybe 2 dial-up modems.
Maybe. And right as you came back, Dimitri hypothesized that maybe Leonard's fiber connection was being chewed on by squirrels, which is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, we started talking about cable shielding, which could be for animal protection, as well as, other sorts of interference. And that someone out there, had to come up with the idea of like, how do we protect cables from being chewed? Because it's really expensive. And these animals, these critters, they don't carry liability or any kind of insurance. So have to figure that out.
Squirrel attack. Yeah. Wow.
What's up, Bill?
What's up, gentlemen?
Hey. Good to see you, man. So I saved the first section because we had some good discussion, actually, about the blowing up pagers from yesterday. And all that went there, but I'm sure we'll get more good color commentary from Bill now, the resident security expert. So now we're all worried: is my phone going to blow up because someone got to it in the supply chain before it got to me? I don't know.
the manufacturing of latent defects.
Ooh, ooh, that's some big words.
I just learned that.
Wow.
Wow. There you go. That's it. Rodent resistant sleeving. That's a good.
Yeah, it exists. So there's,
There's so many vulnerabilities all over the place, aren't there?
Oh, every day.
Yeah.
Every single day. I mean, you can find it. I mean, all you have to do is have a CVE monitor, right? And you'll catch them.
Yeah.
All over the place. It's nonstop. It's every day. What's good today is no longer good tomorrow. This whole thing about, we're protected because we've got firewalls, because we've got CrowdStrike or Arctic Wolf or any other third party, front end system that's going to protect your IT environment. But the attacks they're not as people think. Oh, it's always phishing. These are just threat vectors that you have. I mean, you have bad actors all over the place, and you could just have a threat that's been sitting there for years, and won't become, dormant. Doesn't become active until
Bill,
certain actions are taken.
I think you're describing Leonard's 18-year-old avatar here as a threat that has been sitting idle in the man's house for years, and now today has chosen to reveal itself. Look at this good-looking ghost.
Yeah.
That's actually an interesting concept in the context of digital twin. Maybe your digital twin doesn't need to be in the same time period as you are. You can use your digital twin from the past.
Do you realize what we're seeing right here? We're seeing the future when we're still alive and Leonard has passed on, and yet his avatar is still there.
Yeah.
And we have enough content from his lifetime of speaking and writing that has all been put together by, these LLMs, that we could have a conversation with him and it'll seem like he's alive. He'll answer like you might expect.
Well, my first question to Avatar Leonard would be, why is your expression look like you left the gas on and you left the house? Like, he looks worried.
I don't know. That's a good question. And look at my hair. It's all weird looking, right?
It
looks like a mushroom.
I mean, you look old young.
Old young. There you go.
What the hell's that supposed to mean?
I mean, I'm looking at the picture over here on my left.
He kind of looks like someone that went to kind of
and then this guy over here on the right, you look like you're sitting next to your son.
Dude, you look like you're in heaven right now and we're talking to you through some kind of seance or some weird
flowing head.
Yeah.
Actually, you want to know what I'm actually doing right now? I'm roaming around the house looking for my coffee.
Yeah. I can see that. I want to see what but it probably can't accurately show us you drinking coffee.
No, here, let me try. You can see my hand going up, right?
See a ghost hand.
It's a bit of a ghost. Yeah, so
there you go.
I think we need to make it very clear to our viewers that IoT Coffee Talk is not starting a cult, right? We're not starting a cult.
No, but I think it would be cool.
It would be cool, yes.
It would be cool one day if all of us were just like Leonard and had our avatars floating around because we all have our Apple Vision Pros on, Maybe Leonard could purchase those devices for each of us. And mail them to us in a secure supply chain armored.
Yeah, I was about to mention that.
Yeah, because what you don't want is when the Vision Pro explodes on your face. That's no bueno.
No.
No latent defects.
No latent defects, please. Yeah. And it's like we have two Leonards here. We have the floating Leonard, the Vision Pro, and then you have his face from his other connection on there in Zoom. And but gosh, This show, gosh, this is as futuristic as it gets.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Maybe you should be Vision Pro 24/7, Leonard, for everything. Have you thought of that, Leonard? Have you thought about when you're going to do inquiry with a customer or whenever you're talking to people, like just start every time showing up to all your meetings with your Vision Pro and just freak
Yes.
them out.
I should have done that yesterday on a call that I had with the executive team where I ended up having the connectivity issue. But oddly, look, I'm not having issues with the Vision Pro, right?
Yeah. Right.
Not at all. You're just merely floating.
Yeah.
But see, that's my style, man. That's how I do.
Yeah, if you do that, you
Oh
can
my
triple the
God.
price. You can triple the price. It's
Oh, well, okay, so I'll let you in on something. So this morning I recorded with Vinke of Things Industries, and we did a little podcast, and check it out. It's a trip, man. It's a trip. Yeah. A lot of folks aren't talking about Vision Pro anymore because of all the Gen AI hype. But the people who know there's some really, I mean, the guys at Apple really did a great job with this device and the operating system, everything else. It's just people don't know yet, right? Unless you have a Vision Pro and a community of folks who you engage with and work with this device, you're just not going to know. So anyway.
We're not going to know.
No, you're not going to know. You're not going to know.
My PlayStation visor or whatever.
It's great. And by the way, I look like crap now.
But considering that we're all not getting younger and might have progressively better faces for radio, it might be good for us all to create that perfect avatar for 25 years old kind of thing and lock that in for the rest of eternity. And so,
I need
to a little generative AI on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I need to bring back my hair. I want people to remember me when I had hair and I look like a different guy.
And you could do that. So I have a question. So we had the update to the iPhone starting Monday morning. A lot of people have updated. Is there an update to Vision OS?
Yeah. Vision OS 2 came out on Monday. I upgraded the night before.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. They did a couple of things that just make the Vision Pro that much more usable. And they did some adjustments to how you use the keyboard. That integration has improved a lot. Before, anytime that you tried to put in text, you get the virtual keyboard popping up in your face, and it was just super annoying. Right now, if it senses that you're using a keyboard, it'll do that virtual keyboard pop up once, but then it'll sense that you have a physical keyboard, and then it'll suppress that pop up going forward. And it sounds trivial. It's actually huge. And also, when you're in the immersive environments, you can see your keyboard.
Okay.
And your hands. And so let's say that you're on an airplane and you want to get some work done, but you don't want to be reminded that you're sitting in economy class.
Ouch.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
On a long haul flight, you can you can see your hands and you can escape. You know, and
Well, see, Rob, I don't know, man. Rob and I were pretty tall, and when we're sitting back there on row 33, seats D and F, our knees are against the seat in the front, man.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, what in the hell are you doing with a Vision Pro sitting in economy?
Oh, it happens.
Some people are show off.
Wait a second. I
But
thought
I'm sitting in
first class.
economy. But I'm sitting in economy because I purchased a Vision Pro, Bill. That's why. Okay? So I look like I'm flying Delta, but I'm on Spirit, on basic economy, okay?
There you go. Okay.
That would be a great
answer.
That would be a great I am in economy because I bought the Vision Pro. And you
just when you thought you're like the new BlackBerry with everybody up in business class, no mas. Wow. What was really cool is that when Bill disappeared momentarily, Leonard went from my left speaker to my right speaker with that whole spatial audio thing going on. And so it's like,
Oh,
wow.
it's insane. I don't think people appreciate the just how well they put this thing together. They really don't. It's so subtle. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they got everything right. It's really incredible. And Rob, you've tried it, right? You went and did
awesome.
the demo. I'm sure some of you guys, but I mean, live with it, and you then really start to sense and start to appreciate how much detail they went into in making this whatever spatial computing experience really work, right? It's just you can't. Yeah, the specs don't tell the story by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. That's like Nintendo would say something like that. The specs of our device don't tell the story.
Yeah, because they used to have comparatively weak specs, right?
They always do. They use
seriously weak specs.
They use stuff from 3 or 4 years ago to build their devices to keep them low cost.
Yeah, but their content was killer.
Content's killer, though. So there you go. Content over specs. Wow. Okay, this is cool. I really think at some point we should all be doing this. So whoever out there watching, listening, can hook us all up. That I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
because I'm progressive like shit.
Well, guys, I got to drop. Have a good rest of the show. Okay. See you guys later.
Later, Leonard.
Bye, Ghost. Bye.
I'm going to send you 2 recordings, Leonard, and you're going to merge them together somehow.
Yes, we will.
Because there was some good stuff in the first recording.
What would be the business opportunities that are going to come out of these exploding pagers thing?
Yes.
I think my first idea would be, like a secondary, so close to the last mile, I will have a distribution center, and me and my minions, those swabs that TSA uses at the airport to see if when you get, so I'm going to grab these devices and, just swab them and put in the machine. And now, assuming that my machine isn't already compromised,
it will.
I would tell Dimitri, hey, I've swapped all your devices and there's no traces of explosive. Here you go, sir. Do the best you can with them.
I love that. Maybe we should have a new show, just like, have you been compromised? Or compromised.
Have you been compromised?
If we could make a movie about it, even it would be like Idiocracy, but something different. You could go through every scenario where something could be compromised and show the outcome.
There's something to that, though. I mean, if we were just to drop the information about how in everyday use, things that people have grown accustomed to are compromised.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, for those that are, people that operate networks and systems, and you're using Ansible or anything like that, there's literally how many CVEs that are operating under AWX? It's absolutely ridiculous. You need to be engaged with the communities over there that run this stuff. And just since July, you got 2024 41990 denial of service vulnerability. 42005 SQL injection vulnerability. 41991 denial of service vulnerability.
We're still having SQL injection attacks after all these years?
Absolutely.
People haven't figured that out. We taught you how to write the correct SQL code to hit so that you don't have that. We're surrounded by freaking idiots.
Hey, I mean, but the thing about it is that what's old is new. You think you solved for it one time, they're like, okay, well, just give them a little while and we'll come back with a new one.
Yeah. Wow.
The thing also is the fact that the tools available to the attackers now do not require a lot of skills. If you have Shodan and Metasploit any 15 years old can go do a denial of service attack to something that is not protected with one of those vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
So that's also the thing is
That's
that
a good
it's,
point.
it's scaled now. You can just very quickly get the tools and go attack somebody.
Yeah. And you know
So
what?
if you don't have the discipline to build your system up to date, update it and patch it to the latest vulnerabilities, you're gonna get hacked by a kid somewhere. At least for the big vulnerabilities. Anyway.
But you have to also be vigilant about how your updates are applied, right? Because setting it to auto update is like a recipe for disaster.
We've seen that recently, right? And
yes.
Very recently, and so.
And so, but
why is, generally speaking, basic cyber hygiene so ignored?
Because it costs money. It's as simple as that. I mean, we don't architecture for resiliency. If you look at how we architecture the Apollo guidance computer, where we send people to the moon, the objective was not to make money. The objective was to get to the moon and not look ridiculous in the front of the Russians. So we wanted people to come back alive. So we designed the system to be extremely resilient. We don't do that today. We design systems to be more efficient at selling stuff.
Right.
So security is a cost.
So we can't get these tech people to do the right thing. They're lazy. They're whatever, and it kind of reminds me, I saw some news this morning. The New York Times newspaper, their tech union. So maybe the tech people that work there have a union. And let me tell you what their demands are. And then you tell me if they care about CVEs or anything like that. Here's what they want: pet bereavement leave, 4-day work week, ban on scented products in the break rooms, unlimited break time, and they want news trigger warnings. I just saw this on the news. And so based on those are the tech people at the New York Times, do you think any of those people are really looking at cybersecurity things or worried about?
I mean, based on those demands, I would have to ask them to spell cybersecurity.
Yes. Can you spell it?
Let's start there, because if you can't spell it, we can't sell it. So,
God, you are the marketing genius. You can't spell it, we can't sell it. That is badass, dude. You're on fire. Yeah, it's like you always just like drop these things. It's all casual, but for some other company, they would have spent millions of dollars on focus groups to try to come up with a cool quote like that. That's a badass. Oh my God.
And
also that T-shirt, Bill. Love. Wow, look at that.
That's a cool T-shirt.
That is awesome, dude. That is awesome.
And and find out in a very retro gaming analog little LED bulb thing. Yeah.
I love it. But you know what? So we're sitting here, we always talk about cybersecurity and networks and everything. And obviously what we saw here with the exploding pagers is an actual physical attack. There's so much trust, I think, in the system and the supply chain and the manufacturers who make whatever. Like, for instance, the shirt that Bill has on. How do you know they couldn't like put some kind of chemical in the shirt so that when he wears it, all of a sudden he gets a rash or worse? We don't know. We just assume, we trust.
And I mean, so whenever that's very true, right? I mean, it's just. But it's the same thing. It's across the board, right? It's nobody gets fired for buying Cisco. Nobody gets fired for buying Microsoft. Nobody gets fired. Nobody gets in trouble for these things. And then when things happen, it's everything's going to be fine. We're going to fix it. Everybody go back to your life as normal.
Yes. Right.
You can't trust anything. I think Public Enemy said that.
The cabin.
They were right.
With no electricity and no internet and completely off grid doesn't sound too bad. It's like, hey, try to make my outhouse explode.
Well, you can still be targeted by a drone if they know where you are. So it's,
trusting people, waiting to be told what to do by some authority they think is legit or correct, and they should believe them.
But the problem is you need a framework for people to trust, and the reality is, I think that, I don't want to get too philosophical here, but the evolution of digital technologies in our society has made that There's no more common framework. There's too much technology. Anybody can do too many things, say too many things, and there's no reference framework anymore. Your religion used to be one; it's not that much anymore. There isn't any reference framework. There's no idea anymore. I mean, don't want to get political, but look at the presidential debate, and even if you don't take any sides, is there any inspiring idea like going to the moon back and forth? Come on.
Not so much.
I mean, how's that do anything for the people? I mean, I'm concerned about my taxes.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about not being in the 1%.
Right. There's nothing worse than not being in the 1%.
And that's my point. There is no inspiration to try to modify this model. As you said, everything's going to be fine. Just a little crisis will go over, and it will stay how it is. So,
wow. There you go.
I mean, but I'm not worried about my neighbors eating my dogs or anything like that. So there's that.
You should.
I'm positive. I'm positive. I'm just not.
What if they saw one of the dogs chewing on your fiber optic cable going to your house? You then might say, "God, I wish you'd eat that dog."
And then that might be more credible, Rob. So don't give politicians ideas. That might be more credible.
Bill,
their dogs are eating fiber optic.
Bill just wants the pet bereavement leave from the New York Times.
Can I just get that?
You're saying.
I mean, I'm sensitive.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Bill is Mr. Sensitive, you know?
Yeah, as you can tell.
I could tell.
Yeah.
Say the word taxes, and he's like, wait, what?
What? Yeah. Don't worry. Bill's not one of those people who moved from California to Texas or anything.
No. Never that.
No.
Never that.
Like, I'm out of here.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about I moved, but I didn't move. I have an address in the Bay Area and an address in Texas.
It might be good to not have an address in the Bay Area because
well, I mean,
California, man, they come after you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if they do, then I'll jump over to Texas. And if Texas does the same thing, I'll just jump to the DR.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Great idea.
That's where all.
I mean, that's my escape hatch.
The DR is the escape hatch. There you go, folks. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's what Dave's thinking all the time. My escape hatch. I'm going back to the DR.
Yeah, coconuts, chickens, eat fruit, live off the land, relax. And then just watch out for the drones because, they can still find you.
Yes.
True. That's true. Oh my gosh. Wow. We are talking about everything today.
The country.
All over the place.
The whole deal about trust and stuff like that, I'm so weird. I always keep showing you guys stuff. This is a real downer. We had 9/11 just recently. And I don't know if you know about this story. There's this guy, Rick Rescorla. Anyway, he rescued 2,700 employees from his company because when the PA system in the World Trade Center told all the employees to stay put and wait for signal to tell them what to do, and they're all staying put, he got on a megaphone. He's like, "Don't believe it. We need to get the fuck out of here." And he was right. He was right. He saved 2,700 people who were just going to sit at their desk waiting for the all clear.
Remember, that's what don't worry. It's just a hiccup.
Exactly.
Now, right back to our regularly scheduled program.
Right. Totally. Yeah. Sorry about the bummer there, guys. Anyway, but it's kind of a message there too.
The money machine has to keep on churning. So, it's just don't worry about that little fire over there. Get back to where you were doing.
Yeah. If you could get back on your computer and do some more trades really quick,
Back to the office.
Yes. Back to the office.
Oh, there's a lot more of that happening.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
I think another idea for cousin Andy is he should donate, I don't know, like $1 billion to pet shelters all over the US. Not so that Bill's peoples don't eat them, because, he just dropped that joke, but for the people that are in a situation where they have to go back to the office because that's the only way they're going to put food on the table. But who's going to take care of the dogs and the pets? So with a big donation to a large system of distributed animal shelters, at least these pets could have hope of being loved by a second owner, and that and the New York Times pet bereavement leave, we got a deal, right? So
Yeah.
I believe I have support from cousin Andy, and now I go back to the office and I just forget about Fido. I have a little picture and I remember the good times we had over the last couple of years.
Maybe your Amazon Ring camera can be pointed at Fido or something, and you can say, "Hi, Fido."
Yes.
So,
Well, I mean, but then you're setting yourself up for an attack.
Exactly.
There we go again.
It's nothing sacred, Bill. And
Here is a free upgrade where you're going to receive a brand new camera.
but the problem is that they'll have enough image generation of it'll be just like Leonard with his Vision Pro. Pretty soon it'll be a fake 3D avatar of Fido, and you think it's real, but Fido's been gone for a long time. But but please stay at your desk and keep working. Fido's fine. He looks.
Well, I mean, at that point, you're just giving people the right to have selective amnesia. I'll remember what I want to remember and forget what I want to forget.
Yeah.
I would like to forget.
I would argue it's already the case, but
I love to forget rent and bills and
Taxes.
Yeah. I want to forget all of that and avoid the consequences.
And I want them to forget.
Yes.
actually, this is the only thing you want. You want them to forget, and then
Yes.
you just not care.
Yeah. There.
And I feel bad picking on California. Mr. Vasquez is also in a really low tax state, Oregon.
Don't get me started, because I will go Bill really quickly here.
Oh yeah. Most people I know who say I'd love to live in the Portland area look at the financial situation and they say, I think I'm going to live in Vancouver, Washington, on the other side of the river where it's a lot cheaper.
A heck of a lot cheaper. And
A heck of a lot cheaper. But I'll buy big appliances in Oregon where there's no sales tax.
Yes.
That's the system, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Don't hate the player.
Yeah.
Sure. Wow.
But
I just want to know. Wait a minute. Let me ask one thing about Portland. Where do they get the machetes from?
I don't know. We have a great manufacturing past here, and we have a lot of fab shops here, Bill.
Maybe that's it. Because I swear, every time I'm there, I've seen people just walking down the street swinging machetes.
Are you serious?
You're calling them machetes. I am calling them scrap sheet metal, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Very in the DR we have the machetes because we do work on the fields. We have sugarcane. We have actual utility machetes here.
Right.
It's more like scrap metal. They're rusty. Either way, you want to be updated on your TV shots. Just in case you get poked.
Yeah.
Speaking, I know I probably brought this up maybe a year or more ago. I'm wondering if David has made it out to the pinball museum that's out in Hillsborough yet.
I have not, but Costco had a pinball machine for $6,000 the other day, and I stood there thinking, do I buy this or what's cheaper, $6,000 or a divorce? And anyway, I'm still married, and I did not buy the pinball machine, but it was a serious consideration to do so.
The next time I come down there, which could be soon, we got to just meet out there. We got to go out to Hillsborough.
I will meet you there.
It's like right by Intel, and it's the biggest video game arcade complex I've ever seen in my life. I think it was a rich guy who had this warehouse, and he was had all these pinball machines and arcade, and then he turned it into a full blown arcade. It's the coolest thing ever. I took my daughter there last year, and we loved it. You paid $20, and it's all you can eat. You play every game, everything. It's off the charts. And there's a Top Golf near there too.
Okay, we'll do it. Otherwise, I do have NBA Jam here in the basement.
And speaking of arcades, I was talking to a friend of mine. I'm not going to out him or anything like that. We were having lunch talking about his AI startup, but then he also mentioned, but also on the side, me and a partner of mine, we're actually going to launch an arcade in this cute little small town over here, not far from where I live. And he was talking about pinball machines and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, how refreshing. I don't know if it'll succeed or not, but in the world of all of us always talking about the next cool tech startup, it was refreshing to say someone's going to build an arcade and have maybe candy and pinball machines and asteroids and space invaders and stuff for kids after they get out of school. I don't know. And maybe he'll do a subscription model. Maybe he'll charge families like a monthly subscription, all you can eat. I don't know. It was just kind of refreshing. It was a little different than the typical, how do I make $1 jillion with AI,
But I mean, let's go down the nostalgia lane. We've had arcade and pinball games for I don't know what, like since 70s or earlier. But in a way, there's been absolutely no changes to the business model. You either go to the place, right, and you pay either by coin or a fee for an hour or whatever, or you buy the machine, at which point, well, it's yours and you get unlimited use out of it. But there's been nothing in between. I mean, they're big, they're physical, they are expensive to make, not because the parts are expensive anymore. I mean, what do we have? We have a single license for the game. Check. That's probably the biggest chunk of the cost. But the parts, the boards, the SMT, the PCBs, they cannot be terribly expensive. But the only innovation I could think of was that company called One Up Arcade, and they're building smaller boxes, which is what I have, of really popular games. And at $500 to $600, you give me 4 games, you give me a little bit of I'll buy it. But the big ones are still 3, 4, 5 grand. A pinball machine is 6, 7, 8, and in a lot of space.
But there is a company or a few companies that will actually sell you the entire system. Because if we think about it, those games like Asteroids and Space Invaders and Missile Command and all of that, they will sell you a console with 1,000 games, all of them from behind. Yeah, it's about 3 grand, 3 to 5 grand, depending on how elaborate you get. You can have 4 players and stuff like that. Yeah. But I mean, that was our downtime. I mean, it was like, that's we would go do that. Yeah. And thank God for that, man, because that stuff kept me out of so much trouble.
Oh yeah. I think it'd be great if we did a live broadcast sometime where we're all at some arcade playing Missile Command and shit like that, at Defender and all that, Those are the days. Yeah, that was the best. But there's that whole notion of experience. It's like I can buy that machine and have it in my house, but there's still that deal, like I want to go somewhere. It's kind of like I talk about wine, you buy all these bottles of wine and all this great wine, everything you got in your house, and yet you still enjoy it more when you go to wine country or you're out in a tasting room. It's kind of like Howard Schultz when he first envisioned Starbucks, when he was in an Italian cafe, it's like, it's the experience. Dimitri.
Yeah, I need to bounce, guys. See you next week. Ciao.
Yeah, and so there's some kind of magic about being in the place.
Well, it's social interaction.
It is, yeah.
It's 100% social interaction. I mean, yeah. I don't know. There's something about it. Like, I mean, I'm not one that loves crowds, but when you're in the environment, it's like, it's cool, especially if you're with others that and everything like that. It's all good. But I mean, I don't see the social interaction thing playing out much.
I think it's very different for this generation. Here, I'm gonna stick to social interactions, and I'm gonna stick to arcades. So back in the day, let's just say that the 3 most popular machines always had a line. And in a Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken, whatever, what was the law of the land? You lose, you're out. Next guy comes in, winner stays. So that was the social structure of the arcade, right? Like straight up, and you're trash talking. Check the infos. Now, if these kids are not used to these social interactions, dude, they're just standing there, like waiting for someone to leave. Like, I don't know, like it's almost like we need to take these kids out to the arcade and almost like walk them through that interaction so that they get the benefit of of the social interaction, of the downtime of the gaming, and actually make eye contact with other humans. I think we've lost a chunk of that, especially for those kids that were certain age during the lockdown. Even if lockdown was only a year for some of them, but dude, I'm telling you, it's lost. Like they don't have that thing that we just grew up with, because that's how it was. I had to talk to the kid. Hey, dude, it's my turn. What do you mean it's not my turn? Yes, it is my turn. Okay, you go play. Like, as simple as that sounds, it got lost. COVID.
Well, so that's lost, and the competitive nature associated with it is lost. Because I don't know about you guys, but my game of choice was Asteroids. It was Asteroids. And my whole intent was to walk into the arcade with a quarter.
Whoa. Oh.
1 quarter. I would get on the machine, and the objective was to get missiles or ships all the way across the screen.
Yeah.
Then I would turn around and say, you got a quarter? I'll let you play 4 men. You got a quarter? I'll let you play 4 men. But it's my game. I'm just giving you.
Wow.
And I'd walk out of there with $10.
That is awesome. Wow.
Arcade games hate this guy.
Oh man, I was like, hey, I've got all these men here, and I'd be on that thing for 3 hours at a time.
You know what?
And
Though,
then just go back, get a Slurpee. Here, you take 4, you take 4, you take 4. Give me your money. Give me your money.
This is awesome stuff. I can imagine like you as a kid doing that, and you got lined up, and you've got that MO about you. And I can imagine like, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, showing up, and he's like, this kid's going places. He's going to be a multi-billionaire, on Wall Street based on what I'm seeing now. Because what you were doing then is an indicator of how you would behave and have the hustle and the way to, in your future. You already had it.
I was thinking, I'm going to be in 1% before we knew what a 1% was going to be.
Exactly.
It literally was that. It was an entrepreneurial mindset from day one. I mean, my mom takes off, goes on a ladies' trip out. The house is empty. I call my buddies. I'm like, we're throwing a house party. And this is no social media. It's word of mouth and people on telephones going, there's a party over here on Sycamore, and and all of a sudden there's droves of people lined up, and I'm like, hold up, capacity.
Yeah.
Give me your $10.
Yeah.
$10 a person. Come on in. You can party. When somebody else leaves, someone else comes in.
This is awesome. I can imagine getting the phone call from Bill, and I answer it, and it's like, what's up?
Yeah,
I wasn't as good as Bill with the asteroid example, but I would. And a good thing my mom doesn't listen to this, or I hope she doesn't, because I would volunteer to go to the laundromat because you needed quarters, and I made a choice of, clothes are going to be a little bit damp because this. That was my MO, and yeah.
When you talk about laundromat and arcades, it makes me think of, my favorite contrarian financial person, Cody Sanchez in Austin. She's on Instagram, always talking about the being an entrepreneur, but going after boring businesses that nobody wants to do. And so she talks about buying laundromats, car washes, stuff like that, buying proven businesses from boomers who are retiring, who'll do owner financing and stuff like that. Super interesting stuff. Just completely different than everybody doing some kind of pie in the sky thing. That's pretty cool. Laundromat.
But you know what's and again, this is the old school in me, is that if you live in a community that has a laundromat, it looks a certain way, right? Versus the suburbs that don't, because people have their own, washer and dryers.
Yeah.
And a little bit of the community dies when these businesses get bought by someone who is not going to be there. You know, like
Yeah.
now, and again, I'm not knocking the boomer selling the business so that they can go retire. No, good on you. Like, don't work until you drop dead. I'm not
Yeah.
knocking that. And I'm also not knocking the entrepreneur for looking at an opportunity to make money. But, you know, as someone who grew up going to the laundromat and meeting the people and the owners and the repair people and the other folks, you know, like I miss that. And that just goes away because when that ownership transfers, those relationships, like, they're done, and people will keep on going to the same place. But, you know, if the operator is not going to be there, because they probably don't want to be there anyway, it's just like a little bit of that community just
Yeah.
dies and disappears.
That makes so much sense. Therefore, we should buy a laundromat, put video games in the laundromat, have cool music playing in the laundromat, have good coffee or whatever, and make it this cool new social place to hang out, to come back to.
Yes, and we'll have, you know, the one thing that all of us with laundromat experience are trying to figure out, like, is my load done? We'll send a text message because this is IoT Coffee Talk and we're all connected. We'll send you a text message that will not blow up your mobile device to let you know that your load is done and you can come pick it up and, you know, fluff and fold it and go home.
I love it. You should take us out since we're at that time. It almost sounded like you were taking us out. I love
Yes, that was a hint. So, folks, now we know that Bill's California address is Sycamore. That is North Sycamore in the West Hollywood Hills of Los Angeles. Bill has had money since he was a little boy. And now we know. And how do you know? Because you're here at IoT Coffee Talk, your favorite internet show of all times, where all the money we make, which, I mean, we have a team of CPAs just counting cash, and it all goes to elevatorkids.org. And if you have extra money, that is where it should go, because we keep funneling money to underdeveloped kids, and we're trying to close the digital divide by buying these folks things that they can connect with and keep on learning. So, thank you for hanging out with us in this will be stitched up 2-part episode. And stay safe. Pay attention to your supply chain. Last mile is where it's at. And until next week, don't blow up, folks. And catch us here next week on IoT Coffee Talk. Peace out.
Peace out.